Hey guys, my name is Alyssa and welcome to Creekside Simplicity. I wanted to just take a minute to introduce myself and to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing here at Creekside Simplicity. Some of you may have known me from when I was Simple Life in the City, and we recently moved from the city to the country. So that required a little bit of rebranding and sort of changing up what I'm going to be posting about. And so the name that I came up with was Creekside Simplicity because, as you can see, we live on a creek, and I'm really just all about living simply, living as close to the earth as we can, being out in nature more often, growing as much of our own food as possible, and just really making choices about our life that are in alignment with our values. There's my dog photobombing the video. We actually just had invisible fencing installed, so she is now free to roam the property, which is kind of exciting. She doesn't have to be on a leash all the time. So it's only been a couple of days now that she's been able to wander around on her own, so she's kind of curious and checking things out. The bugs are getting bad down here. So anyway, I thought I would start by maybe giving you a bit of a tour of the property. We have actually been here for a month now. So my intention was to start this video series right from the get-go so that you guys could kind of see our progress and the changes that we're making and that kind of thing. But to be honest, it's been so crazy since we moved in, and you know, it's just been kind of a whirlwind of getting things unpacked and getting settled and tackling what we could outside and that kind of thing. So we have already done a fair bit, but there is still tons that needs to be done and tons that we're planning to do. So at least you can kind of see where we're at now, and then hopefully follow our journey as we start implementing some of these different things and basically start developing our own little homestead here on our Creekside Simplicity property. So I'm going to actually flip the camera and just kind of walk you guys around and give you a little bit of a tour so you can kind of get a feel for the layout and what's going where. So I'm going to start down here by the creek. This is actually what made us fall in love with this property, is the fact that it's completely bordered by water. And while it's not, you know, a lake or a river or anything that's, you know, spectacular, we're just really drawn to water and the peacefulness that it brings, and it just seemed to bring a whole other element, literally, to our homestead. And the other properties that we looked at just didn't have anything like this. Behind the property, this is actually all crown land, so all this forest area, while it's not our property, we do get to enjoy it and all the birds and the wildlife that like to hang out over there. So we really love that, just the peacefulness and the privacy that this border brings to our property. So it goes under that tree there, and then there's a train bridge that goes across. So we pretty much own up to or close to that train bridge there. So if we come this way, we're gonna go up a little bit of a hill here. The hill is nice because obviously if the creek ever floods, we don't want it flooding our house, so it's nice to have the higher ground here. So here's where the house is. This is the back of the house. The back faces the creek. And over here is, there were already a couple of raised beds that were on the property. And rather than sort of ripping them out and starting over, I just decided to make use of what we had here. So I weeded the gardens. They were full of all kinds of who knows what. So we got them all weeded and cleaned out. This bed actually had to be rebuilt because the boards were rotten. I just used the existing soil that was in there, and I just amended it with a lot of compost and some peat moss. The only issue with using existing soil is that I am getting quite a few weeds, which is why I decided to put the mulch down, is to help keep the mulch down, or to help keep the weeds down. But this is our herb garden here, and then this is our vegetable garden. So obviously in the coming years we're going to expand. We will have more than just the 2 beds, but just for this year, because we got moved in late in the season and there was so much to be done already, I just kind of wanted to keep things basic for this year and just get these 2 beds planted that were already here. And then over time we are going to expand the garden beds out in this direction. So all this area, it's kind of shady now, but it does get full sun in that area, and we're just going to keep sort of building back until we have as many beds as we want or need. This area back here, these are actually 2 large apple trees. So this is going to be our orchard area. We're hoping to add a few more fruit trees, maybe some nut trees. That's actually a black walnut tree there. So we're kind of hoping to expand over here and add in a few more trees. We want to be a little more self-sufficient in the fruit department because our kids eat tons and tons of fruit. So that's definitely high on our priority list. We're still not sure what kind of apple trees those are, but I'm sure we'll find out soon. And then back behind the apple trees, buried under all that mess to the left there is actually an asparagus patch. It's obviously gone to seed, but it's there, and I'm hoping to do some reading up on how to cultivate that, and so that we can start having our own asparagus. Buried under all this is an old, what I believe was a compost bin. So once I get all that cleaned out of there, then we'll be able to start composting, and which is obviously what we want, because then we use that compost in our gardens. Over here, there's a couple of rhubarb patches back here. You can see them there, and we're hoping to add a gardening shed back here and possibly a chicken coop down the road as well. Those birds are super loud. I don't know if you can hear them, but they're very squawky today. Okay, so we've been doing some tree trimming. There was a lot of dead limbs and branches, so we just got a lot of that cleaned up over the past few days. You can see it's all loaded in the trailer there, but just a lot of dead stuff that was actually, you know, kind of a safety risk, because any of those dead limbs could have sort of fallen at any time. And plus it was just really hard to mow the lawn with so many branches and things hanging down, so it's much tidier now. There's Sky checking out her new area that she can roam around in. So yeah, and then that's the front of our property through those trees over there. So then if we go back this way, that's Sky's agility set that the kids have set up for it. It's so nice to have so much more space for that kind of thing out here. So this is the brush that we felt was burnable, so we're gonna burn a lot of that. And then, you know, just a lot of cleanup and stuff that needs to be done. So they had, the previous owners had this as sort of their fire burning area. We're not wanting to do that just because it's, you know, so close to the house and it's kind of an eyesore. But all this just needs to be sort of dug up, and, you know, some fresh topsoil thrown down and some grass seed and that kind of thing, just to get it cleaned up. There is a really beautiful flower garden here that I want to do some work on and tidy it up and bring it back to life. And This area over here also needs some cleanup. Surprisingly, we've actually done a lot already, but these doors go into my fiance's workshop. And this area here already has a lot of medicinal type herbs growing in it, so I'm just gonna kind of go with that and make this into my medicinal slash tea herb garden. There's motherwort back there. There is bee balm. I've planted some lavender and a few other things here. And I'm just gonna kind of work with this and make it pretty and bring it to life. So the nice thing about having all these awesome perennials is that it's attracting tons and tons of bees and butterflies to our home, so that's always nice. Back here, this is, so underneath the deck, there's kind of a porch sitting area, and eventually we'd like to screen that in and just make it kind of a cozy sitting area, and while it's screened in, it's gonna help keep the bugs away. And then the deck up there. So down here, next to the stairs, these beds are actually full of mint. So again, I got them all weeded and cleaned out, and realized that there was all kinds of mint in there. So I'm just going with what's already here, and gonna keep those weeded, and that's where we're gonna have all of our mint, which I can dry for tea in the winter. That's just our septic tank, which needs to be reburied. So it's kind of an eyesore right now, but it's on the list. And then we have this whole other side over here. I'm actually planning to run my clothesline on this side because that's actually my laundry room, those windows right there. And then I can come right out the basement door and attach the clothesline to that post, and then I'm gonna run the post, or run the line across here, so that we can hopefully stop using our dryer in the middle of summer. We'll save the dryer for winter. And then this side is kind of a bonus, because when we first came to look at this property, this area, we weren't actually quite sure if it belonged to this house or if it was a separate lot. And because there's a sort of a tree line here, and then it was actually fenced across the front. So we weren't sure what the scoop was with this. And so when we found out that this is actually part of the property, it was originally owned separately, and then one of the previous owners had purchased it. So we actually own this as well. And this is just incredible open space that we can do whatever we want with, basically. So we're really excited to kind of figure out what's gonna happen over here. These are some rocks that my fiance brought home that we're gonna be using around the property just to edge, you know, garden beds and maybe make a fire pit and do some things like that. And all behind those trees, the creek also flows behind those trees. So the creek literally borders the entire property except the front. So it's just a really nice, peaceful place. This little area over here is like kind of our little forest area, and we call it the campground because one day we hope to set up a little trailer down here, or maybe even build a little cabin, and clear out some of that overgrowth there, because the creek, like I said, runs right across there as well. So just to have this as kind of like a separate little hangout area would be really fun. And then back here you can, this is kind of back where we started. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea of the kind of space that we're working with and kind of see our vision a little bit for what we hope this to grow into. So thanks for watching the intro video, and I really just want to kind of use this as an opportunity, not just to share, because I do think that's important, because it can be inspiring to watch you know, the things that other people are doing, but also just for ourselves as a way to kind of record our progress and the changes that we've made here on the property. And we just really want to live this very peaceful, calm, happy life. So that's our goal here on the homestead, and I hope that you'll follow along. If you could hit the subscribe button, that would be really great. And then there's also a bell that you can hit if you want to get notifications whenever I have a new video posted. So I'm not sure how often I'll be uploading video right now, but basically, you know, as we're doing things and making changes, then I will record that and upload it to YouTube. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Bye for now.